shooting. This skill in basketball in times past was not seen as the true way of scoring. With offenses centered around their dominant big men, scoring inside the key and closest to the basket was the way to go. Shooting was seen as perhaps a crowd pleaser, but never a way that could win a team a championship. Scoring the ball inside was simply seen as easier. Until this happened.
Coach. Smith will bring it up, throw up a three, rebound Curry, and the dream season is now complete. The Golden State Warriors are the 2015 NBA champions. Their first title in 40 years.
An upcoming superstar and sharpshooter by the name of Stephen Curry led and helped his Golden State Warriors to capture the 2015 NBA championship. In the past, most teams could claim their path to success of a title due to them having a solid big man or wing who could generate easy points in the paint. But this team, for the first time ever, could claim their success, at least on the offensive side, due to their three-point shooting. This was a huge shock to the league, as this time, a sharp-shooting backcourt duo helped lead a team to a championship, with even one of them taking home MVP that season. And that season, might I add, was what ultimately paved way to a new era of basketball. The era of pace and space. What's up guys, Deluxe Gamer here, and today we'll be addressing the topic of the top 10 3-point shooters in NBA history. As I just mentioned, with this new era of basketball today, I thought it would be interesting to break down, by the numbers, my personal top 10 list of the greatest 3-point shooters ever. Now keep in mind this is 100% not my opinion. These are hard, cold facts. There's no bias, no BS, nothing like that. And that's what I try to do as much as I can on this channel, leave out all bias. So anyway, let's get to it. The 3 criteria I will use to rank these top 10 3-point shooters is as follows. 1. Total career 3-pointers made. 2. Total career 3-pointers taken, essentially the volume of threes. And 3. Their career 3-point percentage, which is of course their efficiency. Seems simple enough, right? Well, not exactly. Some questions may arise from this, such as how much should each of the 3 criteria be weighted for the ranking? Should we take into account the era each player played in? And this is where we run into trouble. This is the subjective, not the objective. Some people may believe that the greatest 3-point shooters ever should be ranked solely by the numbers, no era context or anything, but others believe we should look at the context of each player's era. My personal answer to both of those questions is first, I think each category should be weighted equally, especially because career 3-pointers made and taken are also directly related to percentage. And if, for example, a player's makes or attempts are super high with a lower percentage, equal weighting here would help balance it out. To the second question, my personal ranking here will not include era context for a few reasons. One being that, if we did, this ranking video would get really complicated really quick. In that case, I'd have to compare each shooter relative to the makes, attempts, and 3-point percentages to the averages of those for the entire league in the time that they played, and if I even managed to do that with all the time that would take, I'd have to take the ratios of the makes, attempts, and 3-point percentages of each shooter in the time they played in, relative to the averages of increase of the other shooters for the rankings. And I'd have to double and triple check everything. Sound complicated? In reality, I could do that in another video. In fact, it could be titled Top 10 NBA Shooters for Their Era, or something like that, while in this video, it's just simply Top 10 Shooters strictly by the numbers. So yeah, if this video gets 10 likes, I'll do that in another video. But the second reason, aside from the insane complicated metrics I'd have to calculate, is that even with a boost from playing in the pre-3-point era, the 2 shooters I mainly looked at, who both played every game before the year 2000, were both extremely far behind concerning the 3 categories for the ranking. As in, too far behind to even make a case with era context help. Jeez, I know that's a lot to take in, so rewind the vid if you got confused on any of that, or if you don't care and just want me to get to the ranking. Here is my top 10 NBA 3-point shooters list by the numbers. Now a quick disclaimer here, This is exactly how I will rank each player. First, I calculated their total career three-point makes, attempts, and percentages. I then subsequently ranked each of those on the all-time NBA list for three-point makes, attempts, and percentages. With those three rankings, because as I mentioned earlier, each of the three categories should be weighted equally, I essentially took the average of all three all-time rankings, and that was their final score. Because first, or in this case the number 1, is better, the lower the score each player gets, the better they will be ranked. If you're confused, here's an example of what that looks like visually. So finally, here it is. Coming in at 10th place on the all-time three-point list is Mike Miller, who played 17 NBA seasons spanning from 2000 to 2017. Now, Mike Miller was a catch-and-shoot monster. If this man was open from anywhere, he could stick it. So going to the numbers, he is 27th in NBA history in three-point makes at 1590, 41st in attempts at 3910, and 28th all-time in three-point percentage at 40.7%. This earned him a score of 32. These rankings for each category, compared to the other shooters on the list, are pretty balanced. Some shooters, for example, have really high percentages but low attempts, or others low percentages and high attempts, but Mike Miller here is pretty balanced. As I stated already, he ended up with a score of 32, meaning that all three rankings as an average. He is 10th on the list. The next shooter on the list, in 9th place, we have Peja Stojakovic, who played 13 total seasons from 1998 to 2011. Peja as well was a knockdown shooter, and he could spot up from just about anywhere. Even in his last NBA season, he spread the floor very effectively for the Mavericks and helped them win the championship. Peja is 20th in three-point makes at 1760, 21st in attempts at 4392, and 45th in three-point percentage at 40.1%. This earned him a score of 28 2/3. His rankings are pretty balanced, and for some context, he shot a slightly worse percentage from three than Mike Miller, but he makes up for it with more threes made and attempted. This puts him as number 9 on the list. Coming in at 8th on the list is Dale Ellis, who had an NBA career lasting 16 years from 1983 to 2000. Now, some may remember this man for competing with Larry Bird in the 1988 three-point contest, and even though he lost, he was still all around a tremendous three-point shooter. He ranks 22nd in makes at 1719, 28th in attempts at 4266, and is 34th all-time in three-point percentage at 40.3%. Compared to the other shooters on the list so far, he has the most balanced of all three categories and has a score of 28, just edging out Peja. And compared to Peja, Dale Ellis has slightly less three-point makes and attempts, but has a higher three-point percentage, just 0.2% higher, but that translated to 11 spots higher on the all-time career three-point percentage list compared to Peja. This ultimately will land Dale Ellis at the number 8 spot on my list. Now to number 7, we have Steve Nash, who played a whopping 18 NBA seasons spanning from 1996 to 2014. As we all know, Steve Nash was not just an incredible playmaker, he was also a very underrated shooter. He ranks 23rd in total makes at 1685, 39th in attempts at 3939, but 11th in three-point percentage at 42.8%. This earned him a score of 24 1/3, and for just one spot down on the list, that is considerably better than Dale Ellis. His rankings here are not very balanced, and he loses ground with his attempts and makes, but makes up for it big time with his three-point percentage. Steve Nash is number 7. Coming in at number 6, this is a familiar name, Reggie Miller, who played 18 seasons from 1987 to 2005, all with the Pacers. Now, Reggie Miller is most notably known for knocking down 2 clutch three-point baskets in MSG, or aka his amazing 8 points in 9 seconds. He was one of the best three-point shooters for his time, as he ranked second in three-point makes at 25.60, second in attempts at 64.86, but 61st in three-point percentage at 39.5%. As you can see, his attempts and makes vastly help him, but his rankings are imbalanced, with his three-point percentage ultimately holding him back. As I mentioned earlier, if I did do that video of the best three-point shooters for their era, Reggie would be ranked higher, in fact, likely much higher. But going off the pure numbers, he ranks at 6, with a score of 21 2/3. Going to the number 5 three-point shooter on the list is none other than Klay Thompson, who has played 8 total seasons on the Golden State Warriors spanning from 2011 to 2019, not 2020 because of his injury. Now with Klay Thompson, where do I even start? He scored 37 points, including going 9 of 9 for threes in one quarter. He made 11 threes in a closeout game in the Western Conference Finals, and has the record for three-pointers in a game, set just last season at 14. When this man heats up, there's not much else you can do to stop him. Klay ranks 18th in makes at 17.98, 26th in attempts at 42.91, and is 14th all-time in three-point percentage at 41.9%. This earned him a score of 19 1/3, and his scores are pretty balanced. One thing to mention with Klay is that his career is far from over. Only having played 8 seasons thus far and now at the age of 30, by the time it's all said and done, his percentage will likely drop a bit, but his makes and attempts will steadily continue upwards. This gives him the potential to crack the top 3 on this list one day, or maybe even higher if he went on a shooting rampage. But for now, Klay ranks 5th. Coming in at a surprising 4th place is JJ Redick, having played 13 total seasons spanning from 2006 to 2020. Now JJ is a catch-and-shoot beast coming off of screens. He thrives due to his quick release and pinpoint accuracy. JJ ranks 15th in total three-point makes at 18.60, 20th in attempts at 44.74, and is 17th in all-time three-point percentage at 41.6%. Now these rankings are very similar, but regardless, it earned him a score of 17 1/3. Just like Klay, I'm sure JJ Redick has a decent amount of basketball still left in the tank, which could ultimately propel him up on the list. We'll have to wait and see how his later NBA years affects his ranking, but for now, he ranks 4th on the all-time three-point list. Now to the top 3 three-point shooters in NBA history. If you've made it this far, leave a like if you enjoyed. This vid did take me a while to put together, and I'd really appreciate it. Also, I promise guys, just 10 likes for this vid, and I'll make the other all-time three-point list I've mentioned already, but with that said, on to the top 3. And at number 3 all-time, we have Ray Allen, aka Jesus Shuttlesworth, having played 18 NBA seasons from 1996 to 2014. Ray Allen is well known amongst all basketball circles as one of the best three-point shooters in the history of the game. From his clutch three-point corner basket in the 2013 NBA Finals to breaking Reggie Miller's record for career three-pointers made, Ray will be remembered in the history books for his remarkable shooting ability. Ray ranks 1st in three-point makes at an astounding 29.73. He ranks 1st also in attempts at 74.29, but ranks 47th in three-point percentage at approximately 40%. This is very similar to Reggie Miller, as his attempts and makes are very high, but his percentage is what's holding him back. This, however, has still earned him a top 3 spot on this list, with a score of 16 1/3. Now to number 2 on the all-time three-point list, we have Kyle Korver, who's played 16 total NBA seasons thus far, spanning from 2003 to 2020. This man is essentially JJ Redick times 1.5, no offense JJ. When this man comes off a screen for a catch and shoot, or just a regular in-rhythm catch and shoot, you can almost just ring up those 3 points on the scoreboard. He ranks 4th in three-point makes at 24.37, 10th in total attempts at 56.85, and is 10th in all-time three-point percentage at 42.9%. His rankings are very balanced, and he has a score well above Ray Allen, coming in at an average of the rankings with a score of 8. That is very impressive, being 10th in total three-point attempts, yet also being top 10 in all-time three-point percentage. Plus, his career is not even over yet. He can still raise his numbers. Kyle Korver is number 2 on this list. And at long last, to the number 1 three-point shooter of all time, you were likely all assuming he'd be number 1 anyhow, but yes, if it wasn't obvious enough, Stephen Curry ranks as the best shooter in NBA history by the numbers. He's played 11 NBA seasons from 2009 to this season in 2020, all with Golden State. This man is very, very special when it comes to shooting the basketball. From his shooting accolades of his 12 threes and the game winner against OKC, to his 13 threes against the Pelicans being the second highest threes in one game ever, to his 402 total three-pointers made in a single season in 2016, that of course being number 1 in a single season all time. Going to the numbers, Steph ranks 3rd in three-point makes at 24.95, 8th in three-point attempts at 57.39, and 6th in all-time three-point percentage at 43.5%. No one can quite compete with the sheer combined volume and efficiency this man has shown from behind the arc over the years. Those rankings earned him a score of 5 2/3, meaning that, of all the 3 categories, having only played 11 total seasons, he ranks on average close to 6th in all of them. That is unreal. So that concludes my all-time three-point shooter list. I was completely unbiased with this ranking and solely judged these players by the numbers, but feel free to leave some comments down below on who you feel should be ranked higher or if I should have compared them differently. But anyway guys, if you like this vid, please leave me a like, this took me a while. I hope you guys also enjoyed, and here are 2 honorable mentions for this vid of shooters who didn't make the list, but may make it in my next 3-point shooting vid if you guys smash that like button. But with that, this has been Deluxe Gamer, and peace. Appreciate the support.